All right, if you're an ABAP developer, listen up. S/4HANA. It's not just some new system, is it? It's a whole new reality. So today, we're going to break down the 7, and I mean critical, mindset shifts you have to make. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Let's jump in.
Yeah, this quote, it really says it all, doesn't it? The way we used to code, it's not just inefficient now. It's actively dangerous in the S/4HANA world. Seriously, this is your wake-up call. All those habits we spent years building in ECC, they can literally become career killers overnight.
So, what's the real problem here? Well, it all comes down to this one big misunderstanding. So many developers look at S/4HANA and just go, oh, okay, new database, got it. And that is just completely missing the point. Look, SAP didn't just swap out the engine, they redesigned the entire car and told us we need to learn to drive all over again. This is about changing how we think. And that's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to go through 7 things, 7 habits that you absolutely must unlearn. Seriously, think of this as deep programming your old ECC brain to make space for this new, high-performance S/4HANA way of thinking. Okay, so first up, let's talk about that big mindset change. It all starts at the very beginning, right at the source. We're talking about how we approach our data from the very first line of code. And number 1 on our hit list, oh yeah, you knew it was coming, the classic, the infamous, the incredibly dangerous select star. This is probably the single biggest bad habit we all brought over from ECC, and it has got to stop. Like, right now. And you know what's crazy? Look at this. The fix is so simple. On the left, that's the old way, right? Grabbing every single column from Mara, just in case. But on the right, look, we're just asking for the 2 fields we actually need. You gotta remember, in S/4HANA, data volume is not your friend. You have to be precise, be surgical. So, why is this such a big deal? I mean, it's just a few extra columns, right? Wrong. It's so much more than that. When you do a select star, you are actively fighting against the HANA database's biggest strength, its column store architecture. You're forcing it to work in a really inefficient way, and that just tanks the performance for everything that relies on that data, like your analytics and your CDS views. Okay, that whole select star thing, it leads us perfectly into our next section, rethinking the database's role. Because to really get this right, we have to unlearn our old assumptions about what a database is even supposed to do. Think about it. Back in the ECC days, we basically treated the database like a big, dumb filing cabinet, right? Its only job was to just sit there and store data until our ABAP program asked for it. Well, that idea, it's completely, totally obsolete. And this really shows the shift. The old way, that's like fetching a giant pile of raw materials from a warehouse and then trying to build the car in your garage. Super inefficient. The new mindset is the total opposite. You send the blueprint down to the high-tech factory, the database engine, and you let that powerhouse do all the heavy lifting for you. And this whole concept, it has a name. It's called code pushdown. The new rule is super simple. If the logic can run in the database, it should run in the database. End of story. This is the absolute core philosophy of modern ABAP. And you do it with tools like CDS views, which are basically these really smart data models, and AMDP, which lets you write database procedures directly. Okay, on to number 3. This is a big one. We have got to unlearn the idea that nested select statements inside a loop are okay. They're not okay, they are classic textbook performance killers. Just look at this. On the left, every single one of those little arrows is a separate trip to the database. It's like sending 1,000 messengers one by one instead of just sending one truck. It creates this huge traffic jam. The right way to do it is to use a join or a CDS view to build one big, efficient superhighway. You get everything you need in a single, optimized trip. I'm telling you, it is exponentially faster. And that brings us to bad habit number 4, using our internal tables as a crutch. You know what I'm talking about. We used to just grab a whole bunch of messy, unfiltered data, dump it into an internal table, and then make our poor ABAP program sort through the whole mess and clean it up afterwards. Listen, here's the key takeaway. ABAP is no longer your cleanup crew. All that stuff, your sorting, your filtering, your aggregations, all of it has to happen at the database level now. Use your where clause like a pro. Use group by. Let the database hand you a clean, refined set of data. Stop making ABAP do the database's job. Okay, so far we've been deep in the code. But all these changes, they're pointing to something much bigger. And that brings us to our next section, evolving beyond ABAP alone. This is about how our job, the role of the developer, is fundamentally changing.
All right, number 5. I want you to think back to the ECC days. When a program was slow, what was the first thing we all did? Come on, you know the answer. Let's create a secondary index. It was our magic bullet, our go-to fix. Well, in S4HANA, that same instinct can actually come back to bite you. Hard.
And here's the reason why. The HANA database is already insanely fast because it's in memory and it's a column store database. A lot of those traditional indexes we used to build, the HANA query engine just ignores them. It doesn't need them. So at best, they do absolutely nothing. And at worst, they're just sitting there wasting precious, expensive memory.
Next up, number 6. We need to unlearn the entire way we build applications. That old step-by-step workflow, create a table, write some code, build a report, that's a thing of the past. The old way was easy, right? Pop into SE11, create your table, then write some ABAP to read it. Simple. The new flow in S4HANA revolves around one thing: Core Data Services, or CDS. Now you start with the CDS view. It's your data model. It defines what the data means and how it's all connected, before you even think about writing application logic. CDS is now the foundation for everything. And that brings us to number 7, our final point. It's time to unlearn the comfortable idea that just knowing ABAP is enough. It's not. Our old toolkit was pretty simple. The new one, it's way more advanced. And look, it might be a harsh truth, but S4HANA demands more from us. You still need ABAP, of course, but you also need CDS, you need AMDB, you need SQL script, and it all has to be wrapped up in this new performance-first way of thinking. So what does all this add up to? Well, that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, becoming a future-proof developer. All these shifts we've talked about, they're really about you making a conscious choice to evolve.
I really want you to let this next part sink in. S4HANA did not kill ABAP. Not at all. It rebuilt it. It supercharged it. Honestly, the opportunity right now is absolutely massive for developers who are willing to unlearn these old habits and embrace this new database-centric way of working. And for those who don't, well, the writing's on the wall.
So that's the question I'm going to leave you with. I want you to really take a hard look at your own code, at your own habits, and ask yourself a simple question. Are my skills built for the past, or am I future-proofing my career? Thanks for tuning in.